Welcome back to Take a Break. I'm Tim Stenovec in New York. Well, the travel industry continues to take a hit from the pandemic, but with vaccines rolling out in many countries, experts are happy to strike a balance between health and economic priorities when thinking about resuming travel. That was the topic of a discussion in a Q&A earlier this morning for Bloomberg customers. Had a virologist in there. Bloomberg Quicktake reporter Jennifer Zabasajja is here to share some of the details. Jen, so what were some of the main takeaways from this discussion? I saw you tweeting about them today.
Yeah, I mean, Tim, I find this to be really interesting, especially, as we get closer to summer and when people are starting to think about international travel again. So you mentioned some of the people who were involved. It was a virologist. It was also the Greek tourism minister and also the head of the World Tourism Council. So really big names in the tourism space, but also, of course, you have to bring in the medical experts to talk about this. So our very own Stephanie Baker in Europe actually spoke to them. And the timing of this, I think, is really important, right? So we saw on Monday, Prime Minister Boris Johnson in the UK announced, the roadmap for easing of restrictions. But also we saw a number of holiday bookings start to happen after he actually made that announcement. So Skyscanner actually said there was demand for places like Greece, Spain, Mexico. I mean, you can see on this graphic here, people are starting to think about holiday, right? And so the discussion really focused on, is it safe or not? And the answers were kind of mixed. So what we heard from Gloria Guevara, was really that she thinks that it's time for travel to resume. She says that to go to places where there are clear rules and priorities set out by governments is really important, and people should consider that. So there's places like Greece that has been pretty clear about what you need to do in order to go there. Also, Iceland is another place. And then the Greek tourism minister actually was pretty optimistic as well. He said he wants to welcome people back in, and the country is actually negotiating with places like the US and the UK about welcoming people back in. The virologist, on the other hand, Tim, as you can imagine,
yes,
was a bit less eager to get back on the planes. She says that it's still a little bit too early, and she particularly is not ready to go and travel.
Yeah, I'm on team virologist here. I got to tell you, I haven't taken a flight in almost a year, Jen. So this was really interesting because this, and I referenced your tweeting. You were tweeting about what's safer, right?
Yes.
Going to the grocery store or getting on an airplane.
Yes.
I was surprised to hear the answer here.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so this was a point of debate, right? And of course, as you mentioned, between the virologist and the tourism experts. So what the tourism expert said, and specifically Gloria Guevara, was saying that because of the air filtration system on these flights, it is like you are in a hospital operating room. So it's just as safe. So she was pointing out the fact that she thinks it is safer to fly than to be in a grocery store passing other people. But what we heard from the virologist is still that, being around people for hours on end on a flight, of course, is not going to be as safe. And so she would prefer to go grocery shopping. But, I think this discussion was really important, Tim, for a number of reasons. Of course, people are thinking about holiday and about travel. But as the tourism expert pointed out, there's millions of people who rely on the tourism industry internationally. And so at some point, it is going to need to resume, and economies are really going to have to strike a balance between health and, getting their economy back again.
Well, as we saw with the data yesterday from Skyscanner, the demand is certainly there, at least in the UK. I imagine we'll see something similar. When I'm vaccinated.
When I'm vaccinated.
Exactly. Bloomberg Quicktake reporter Jennifer Zabasajja. Jen, thanks as always for your time.